Welcome to Rifle, Colorado. I am EV coach Ben Westby, and I am here with my F150 XLT Lightning standard range. Now today what we're going to show is demonstrating how to connect to a brand new Tesla Supercharger with the adapter that Ford will be giving to all Lightning owners. However, there's a couple things that we need to talk about, and one of them is getting a non-Tesla EV into an appropriate place that can be as considerate as possible for all the other EV owners out there. Not every EV has its charge point in the same location. These parking lines for this Tesla Supercharger are at a slant compared to where a normal straight-on parking lot would be. So for a Tesla, that's no problem because they just need to back in and the cords are designed to reach their rear end port. But for a truck like this XLT Lightning, I have to be creative in how to get to a place where this cable can get to my port around this flap. Now, Tesla knew that these cords were going to be too short for a lot of EV owners, yet they still released the ability for us to be able to charge. And they acknowledge that a lot of non-Tesla EVs may have to take up 2 spaces to do so, hoping that we can all try and be considerate with each other as we're developing and growing these charging stations. So today's video is going to be us together looking to see how we can take a typical station that has no pull-throughs, no separate stalls, and what would be the most considerate place for a non-Tesla owner EV to be able to plug in while still leaving the most available stations for the rest of the Tesla owners. So normally when you come up to a Tesla Supercharger and you're a non-Tesla EV, especially like with my Lightning where the charge port is right up here in the front by the driver, you would want to have the leftmost stall to be able to avoid taking up these other positions. But I wanted to come here at Rifle, Colorado to demonstrate a really tight parking lot and a very typical station where all the stalls are in one row. There's no pull through here. There's no stalls in a different location. They're all just here in a line. And the problem is that there is a curb and some bollards on this side of the car, so I can't go any further over to the left. Otherwise, I would have been more than happy to take up a non-stall parking spot to reach this cord. But even going straight in, I absolutely cannot reach. So what am I going to have to do? I'm going to have to move one over and take up 2 spaces essentially. So we're going to take a look now and see what does that look like. If I moved over one more, would I be able to get the cord to reach? And then on this side, would someone be able to back in and actually have space to charge? And then we're going to try a couple other spots as well. All right, so as you can see, I had to move myself from this furthermost stall, and essentially I have to line up my headlight here to the edge of this stall in order for this one to be able to properly reach. So I am going to be able to reach from this stall, but as you can clearly see, I also had to take up so much space that a Tesla would not be able to back into here. Now, if there was actually no guard right there, no curb, I could probably clearly park over there and not have to bother anybody else. But in a stall like this with a parking lot that's as tight as this, I have no choice. I'm going to have to take up 2 stalls. And as I look, you can look down here, as you look down these stalls, there's not another spot where I could park and not take up a second one, except for maybe where those garbage cans are. So we might give that a try as well. There's another Tesla over here. I don't want to necessarily bother them while they're doing their charging session, but it's pretty clear that I'm going to have to take up 2 spaces at this particular station. Now, if there's a place with a pull-up or the stations were separated by every 4, like some of the prefab versions are, it probably would not be as much of an issue. But this is going to be an issue for some of these smaller stations that are a lot tighter and don't have any variability in where the stalls are located. So we found the one stall in this entire station here where we're not going to block someone. And it's the very middle. And it's the one that won't block anything because there's actually a big gap here in between this set of stations and that set of stations. There's some garbage cans right up here. I'm like inches away from it. I had to clear the curb a little bit, but I'll be able to grab a charge with this adapter that Ford is giving out to owners, plug in with plug and charge. I got the blue indication that we are indeed charging. And as far as I can tell, I'm not going to block anybody. You just have to be very creative and patient when you pull into a station to see how the layout is and to make sure that you're going to be as considerate as possible. As a whole bunch of new non-Tesla EVs come into these stations, we want to make sure that we're being considerate guests and for Tesla owners to be considerate hosts. That we all want to have the mission of electrification move forward. And with the opening of the Tesla Superchargers, that is just getting one step closer. And as long as we can be friendly with each other and work it out, I think we're going to have a really great experience.